So you guys were able to do a lot of industry looking at, you didn't have to invent this schedule yourselves. You had a lot to look at and compare to. Since this is industry standard, or more or less.
That's correct.
Okay. Refresh my memory, we made a significant change in the residential customer charge in our last adjustment, didn't we?
Yes, we did. On the residential, we went from $6.09 to $8, and we are now proposing to go from 8 to 10. And we are trying to basically step into getting towards the median. The median across the valley at this time is about $11.50, so we will not yet reach the median. Furthermore, we anticipate that with this rate change, many other distributors may also increase theirs. So once all that information is in, we will look at it. It's very possible that we will just hold the point that we're at, and we may stay in the bottom quartile by the time everyone's results are in. But we know at this point in time, the median is $11.50 today, and we would like to go to 10.
Other questions or comments?
I mean, it's terribly complicated.
Yeah.
And Bruce's point is a good one, the communication effort. But I mean, after I think it through, this is oversimplified, but is this fairly accurate? I mean, look, peak demand electricity costs the most. And this move to this demand energy structure is an effort to move toward charging people more when they're using electricity during the peak demand period and charging people less when they're using electricity at times when it doesn't cost that much. I mean, is that in a nutshell?
Yes, TVA's goal is
So what
to
took
start.
so long? Not your presentation, I'm just saying, I guess it takes you back to, if TVA did it that way through 92, why did they ever switch?
That I can't answer.
If you go back in time, I think it was really somewhat Mike can make address this more than I can.
If you go back to 92, TVA was sitting there with a lot of excess generation. They built all the nuclear plants. The economy had gone south a little bit, so they had a lot of excess generation. So their motivation at that point in time was to sell energy. They weren't worried about peaks. They weren't worried about selling power. They were in a sales mode. Now they're in a situation where their generation has sort of maxed out. And if they add more load, they got to build more generation. And before they build more generation, they want to say, wait a minute, there's another way to do this. That's to reduce the demand. So TVA was in a significantly different situation than they were back in the
And which goes back to Joe's point. I mean, it may not increase revenue, it may ultimately decrease their expenses.
Well, I wonder if TVA's total load, what they sell, is it reflected, is the same 20%? Would it be typical from what we have in Knoxville throughout their system in terms of their large users? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, because they are so large, they're going to get the benefit of being able to reduce their consumption, whereas all of us are not, at least at this stage in the rate paying and ability to gauge demand rates. We can't do it on a residential basis. So those folks, is that reflective of the total system of TVA in terms of numbers?
I think it varies significantly by distributor. Some distributors are really heavily industrialized, so they might have 50% of the load are in the industry driven. But for the first time, like the operations bureau will need to try to manage KUB's peak. You know, KUB as a system whole will now need to try to manage that peak on behalf of all of our customers to minimize the overall cost to all of our customers. Whereas prior to this change today, we just take power and sell it to our customers and are not incented to manage peak at all. Because it's just a pass-through in-use deal. So for the first time, like the large industrial you're talking about, that you would say, well, now they have an incentive, they can manage it, they can save money. Distributors will have the same incentive. And we'll come up with mechanisms and ways that we can run our operations differently to try to minimize our peaks. So the whole thing the TVA set up is for everybody, including distributors in the chain, to have an incentive to reduce peaks.
And that's gonna include residential.
And that
customers
ultimately-
also.
Eventually.
Ultimately, it'll include residential.
But right now, it's seasonal, it's not in time of use, because I know other industries, what they do, they have smart grids so that, you know, you wash your dishes at 11 o'clock at night rather than during the day. I mean, I don't really understand seasonally, for instance, what a residential customer is gonna be able to do. I mean, because you're not able to shift in the season, I mean,
This is a step in that direction.
okay, so then they want to
I
get
think one of
to
Sherry's
smart.
slides says initial step, and there will be more
Yeah,
steps
well,
to
yeah.
come with time of use rates eventually on the wholesale side, and then over time, probably eventually on the retail side.
So, looking at that, then are we looking at those smart grids or whatever that eventually they have at residential?
We have a pilot project in
Uh-huh.
the Fort Sanders UT area. We've already put those meters out for bid. That installation is starting. That is a pilot project that we have on our system
Okay.
to start.
Because I mean,
getting
it does
feelings
seem
out.
that's where we're going.
Yeah. To go back to your question, Margot, slightly, the seasonal does, to some extent, give the residential customers the opportunity to manage it, even though they don't have smart meters, because the most expensive peak time that TBA has right now is in the summer.
Mhm.
And it's designed to maybe teach people to not turn their air conditioning up as high
Mhm.
in the summer. So it's kind of getting us all educated to, there's a difference in the cost of kilowatts based on the time of day and the season of the year.
Mhm.
So it's starting with the big bundle, the seasons, and then eventually it will go to time of day.
Can we urge TVA with all that advertising they do for Energy Right and things like that they put some of that budget to educating more
We
about
would,
something?
we would be glad to share that perspective with them. Yes.
You're in charge of that.
My take is it, I understand it took a complicated explanation to get us to this point, and I think I have general, it's still complicated, confusing, you can imagine, and I hope that it's a seamless process when we change and the customers don't notice anything, but there is potential for somebody, you know, they're gonna have a different customer charge, you know, so they're gonna assume rates have gone up or whatever else. So I urge you guys to think about the easy way to, Tom, you boiled it down just right. The easy way to explain this without, people thinking, oh, we're just getting more increases from KUB and or TVA. All right, other questions, comments, feedback? So I guess next month we'll have a resolution.
It's good that you gave us a month heads up on that.
That was the intent.
Thank you.
It's very complicated.
You have some more things?
Yes, I do. We always come to you when we have a major weather event and talk to you about how the weather impacted our system, and we're going to do that again today. It's going to be a two-part presentation. Mike Bowling is now the VP of System Operations, so he's going to talk to you about how the system operated. And then Dawn Musty is the VP for Customer Service, and she's going to share with you the impact on customer bills and what we're sharing with customers for benefits.
Commissioners, I guess it's no surprise to y'all that it's been a cold December. Average daily temperature of 32.8 degrees doesn't mean a whole lot, I don't guess, but one of the things you can do, particularly when you talk about heating systems or air conditioning systems, you can turn temperatures into what's the load on your furnace or what's the load on your air conditioner. And the industry term for that is heating degree days in the case of furnaces. In the case of air conditioners, it's cooling degree days. And a heating degree days is defined as the average temperature 65 less the average temperature. So, for example, if the average temperature was 50 degrees on a particular day, that'd be 15 heating degree days. If the average temperature was 30 degrees, that'd be 35 heating degree days. And that's a reflection of the amount of heat demand you have on your furnace. So a way of measuring how cold a particular month is to look at what's the normal heating degree days in a month versus what the actual is. The normal heating degree days for December is 733. This December, the heating degree days was 987. To put that into perspective, a normal January has about 850 degree days. So this past December, was colder than a cold January. It was a very, very cold month. December was about 35% in this way of looking at it, colder than normal. So what does cold weather do? Well, for utility, cold weather increases sales. Our gas sales, we sold more natural gas